Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Moves. I'm just going to do a little check on my phone. So Monday Moves, just a reminder, is our check-in every week with each other here in this family, in this community online, so that we have a topic or a mindset or a focus that will help us move forward every single week, being the best version of who we are. Today, I wanted to kind of piggyback on what we talked about last week, which was last week we talked about the intention, right? Just kind of like putting effort and energy into what we're doing and making sure that we're not just kind of status quo going through the movement. And the one thing that I shared, there was a story with my youngest, and it was from 2 weeks ago now, about stickers and that being a reward, and her all of a sudden, now there was no problem with the handwriting. It was like, oh, I got this, mom. I can do this. But it wasn't just the stickers. It was really the ripple effect of, her showing me what she's capable of doing, which I already knew as mom and as her teacher. But what are we showing ourselves every day that we are capable of doing? We don't have our moms and our dads and our caretakers looking after us as adults moving through life every day, telling us, hey, do better, push yourself. You can do a little bit more effort. Can you try it one more time? A little bit nicer. We don't have that luxury anymore. And I definitely consider that a luxury because that's what a coach is really. But it's that accountability to being the best version of you. So today I have my notes. And today I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that. So focused effort versus just going through the motion. And so if we were to talk about keep showing up on purpose, I want to just kind of use these words as our frame of where we're going today. And it's really when you're showing up on purpose. Hello, I see there's a few of you guys with me live. I'm sorry, I can't see your names, but once you comment, I'll know who you are. So once you show up on purpose, right, you're there for a reason. When I'm doing something and it's on purpose, there's a very different energy and intention behind that versus just like, I love you too, and then you walk away, right? Who does the I love you or goodbye, have a good day? You have a person in your life, maybe a spouse, a kid, a loved one, somebody you talk to, and you hang up and you're like, love you, bye. And it's so unintentional. It's so not even like, there's not a lot of energy behind it. It's just, it's rote. It's by memory. You do it out of habit. But what if we were to do it on purpose? What if right before you say, I love you, it was this like, pause and look at the person and actually, why do you love them? What does this word mean to you? This statement mean to you? Why are you saying it? And not even that you need to tell them that, but it's for yourself because it really anchors in that energy behind I love you. Like saying I love you to somebody is massive. There's somebody in your life you get to say I love you to, a child or an adult, it doesn't matter. Yourself, even better. I love you. Like, I'm so proud of you. I love you. And you're not saying it to someone else. It's just the feeling and the energy behind it. So intentional effort doesn't just shift you, it actually shifts the room. And what I wanted to share with that is, let's go with the I love you example. So if my children are sitting at the table, okay, and because my husband gets to come home sometimes for lunch, which is really awesome. And it's a gift and an intentional way of living that we have set aside time and energy for. But if my husband comes home for lunch and he just kind of walks in and he just like walks past everybody, gets his lunch, and then, hey guys, and he checks in with us. But then there's this like status quo, like, all right, what are you doing today? How are you? Whatever. There could be that, right? There could be that experience. But when he leaves to go to work again, it's usually a little chaotic because it's right at the shift of he needs to get back to work. I'm trying to get everybody, focused for homeschooling, or we're wrapping up something, or I'm moving into coaching or something with my world, with Tap It Bam. And it's this like interim, very easy to just be like, all right, see you later, bye, and push them out the door. But I remember it's been a couple months now, but there was a couple months ago, whenever it was lunchtime, and he was getting ready to leave. And it was like the bye, see you later, love you, something like, have a good day. And he's walking out the door. And my kids were sitting at the table. We were all kind of together in the kitchen area. And we were all like, bye, everybody. But then I stopped for a second and I watched Arcadia, my youngest, and she like ran down. We have a wall of windows, which is really cool. It's one of my favorite things about the house is how many windows we have, but there's windows. And she like ran to the one and she like knocked on the door and he like looked at her and he was like, bye. And then she ran to the next one and knocked and said bye and ran to the next one. And she hit every window. And he, it was so beautiful to watch her really stop and pull his attention back in just to say, really, have a good day, Dad. It was like, gosh, like what a gift she gave him and what a gift she gave me. Because what happens is when we intentionally have that effort, like she didn't want to just be like, bye. She intentionally wanted to make sure he saw her. And she ran to every window. It didn't just shift her and him. It shifted my energy. It shifted the brother and the sister's energy. Like what I wanted to remind you is that showing up on purpose, it affects everyone. It affects everyone. So we were talking about stickers last week and I was sharing that example, but what about for you? Where has there been a time when you were in presence of somebody else who's being very intentional, maybe very intentional with their words, very intentional with their actions, very intentional with their boundaries of their time on their calendar even? And when they gave you whatever that was, that intentionality, and you were on the receiving end or just in the same space as it, how did that make you feel? Right? It allows you to be a better version of you as well, because those people are leading by example. My 5-year-old was leading by example that day. It wasn't just like a, like we were all doing, and my husband and I were the ones leading that because he had to go and I was doing something. But she took that extra bit of little kid energy, which just doesn't care that there's a time frame to anything and isn't in any hurry to rush through life, and just bye, love you. And they do the little, like, she's knocking and she's like, and then he's like, and then they do this thing. They have all these little signals that they do. And every window, every knock was different. And she thought about it. Every window was like something different. And you could see he was even so excited to see what she was going to do. And I just sat there in awe of the simplicity of her being so intentional and on purpose with every goodbye. And so I'm sharing this story not to be like, oh, well, that's awesome about his, the dad and the daughter there. For you, when is the last time you were in this space with somebody and they were intentional with their words? And then it allowed you to go, ooh, that was good. That was a good catch. And then later on, it trickled back into your own experience, because later on you went to go say something and then you're like, oh, catch, pulling it back in, catching that, bringing it back. Right? Have you guys experienced that? Let me know in the comments, because it shows the power of being focused and being on purpose and living with intention. And all these words mean the same thing. So I use a lot of different words, so hopefully it will resonate with you in whatever way. But I wanted to say intentional effort doesn't just shift you, it shifts the whole room. So if you can remember a time when it shifted for you because of somebody else, it's a powerful reminder that you have to lead by example and do the best that you can every day. The other thing I wanted to talk about, because I want to kind of bridge into our Love Yourself event that kicks off tomorrow, is discipline as a love language. So last week when we talked about focused effort, I was talking about if you're in a dance class and we're warming up and I was using the example of isolation. It's discipline. And so when you have focused effort and you have focused on purpose energy and intention with the way that you speak, the way that you finish tasks, the way that you communicate, the way that you even get dressed, if that's where you want to sit, that equals self-respect. That equals self-respect. So your discipline and your focused effort is your self-respect, and your self-respect is your self-love. Someone who loves themselves and takes themselves very seriously, in a sense, not so serious that they can't have fun, but seriously in the fact that they matter. Those people are absolute ripples in their spaces, in their homes, and in their communities, because they have this different level of energy. And so discipline doesn't need to feel like punishment. That's not the word. I'm not talking discipline as in punishment. I'm talking about it like the word devotion. We even have a program called Daily Dance Devotion. I love the word devotion. I'm devoting this time into me. I'm gifting this time for me. And so when you keep showing up every day as best as you can, and you do it with care, and you're reinforcing the fact that I matter. I matter. That is devotion. That is discipline. That is self-love. And that affects the entire room. So if you have not registered yet for the Love Yourself event, we kick off tomorrow for day one. And then every day from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be live at 2 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, and everyone will be on Zoom so we can see each other's faces, and it's so much fun. I have a whole workbook. It's right here. And we'll go through it together if you're in VIP. And if you don't upgrade to VIP, that's fine. You just have a journal and a pen and be ready to write, because I'm going to give you lots of things and lots of prompts and things to really discover more about you. But to dive deeper into this whole self-love concept, because I will tell you, I once thought that self-love was like, I had to have money to spend on me, because that's what I saw for self-love. I had to have all this extra time to take a bubble bath where my kids weren't, bothering me, let alone I would take a shower and they'd come in and actually like ask me questions. I'm like, hello, like I was like self-love, maybe when I'm in a different season of life, but that's not true. I learned the error of my ways. And self-love for me was getting out of my own way and catching all of those things that I kept saying weren't the right time for me, or maybe later, or that's what self-love looks like, and that's this and that's that. And I put all these labels and these restrictions really on my own self-love, but I didn't realize I was doing it. And I didn't realize that it was even affecting anybody else. I thought I was, if anything, I think as women, and especially as moms, I have a very strong mother example in my life. You do at the sacrifice of self for everyone else. But that's not actually the best leader, because the best leader is somebody that's leading somebody to do or to view what they're doing as something that they would want. And so I realized pretty early on, whenever my daughter, my son was first, my second born was my daughter. My son was watching me, yes. But when my daughter, I realized, was watching me, I was like, ooh, boom. Okay. I want to lead by example. I want to lead so purely in what lights me up in life that she knows to follow what lights her up in life. It doesn't need to be what I do, but I need her to follow what lights her up in life. And in order to do that, I have to do it first, which means I have to stop putting Ashley last, because that's not actually being a good leader. That's setting an example that I don't want for her, right? And I don't want it for you, and I don't want it for anybody. We aren't meant to put ourselves last at the compromise of everybody else. That's not what we're here for. So we're going to talk about a lot of this in the Love Yourself event. We're going to go so deep over 3 days. And if you don't have VIP, that's totally fine. You don't have to. I will give you all the prompts. We will speak through it. If you do have VIP, you'll be able to download your workbook tomorrow morning and get access to that, and then the playlist and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. So today, I just want to say one more thing again. Intentional effort doesn't just shift you, it shifts the whole room, right? Somebody puts something out on social media that makes them look like their life is so put together, and then you see it and you have 1 or 2 reactions. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Or, oh my gosh, good for them, whatever, right? There's 2 energies that come. And there's oftentimes always the polar opposites in everything that we're doing. Everything has a yin and a yang. So when you focus and you show up on purpose, that's the opposite of autopilot. The next time you say, I love you to somebody this week, say it on purpose. Say it with intention. Say it maybe even a little different way so that you know it's intention. Maybe it's not just I love you too. It's I love you so much, right? You just change it up a tiny bit, and therefore you put more energy into it. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to receive it differently. Because when you show up on purpose, you shift the whole room. It's not even just about you. It starts with you, but it's not always just about you. And I will see you guys tomorrow in the Zoom space. So make sure you register and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you, Juanita. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Jen. Everybody have a beautiful Monday, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the Love Yourself event. Bye, guys.